Well, hello again. We're going to try to do this in one video, but we may not be able to do that. So we'll see what happens. A couple of points for you. There is a public speaker critique. It is worth 40 points. Make sure you do that. Special occasion speech is worth 50 points. We add up all of the points of what's remaining. One exam yet to go. You have the public speaker critique, you have the special occasion speech, and you have 40 more points in the discussion board. So there's 150 points left in the class, and when we get the grades posted to Blackboard and YouTube, or to Excel, you will see where you are points-wise in the class. At this point, it would appear that if everyone does a real good job on everything left, that the grades in the class will be C's and better across the board. Now, let me talk a little bit about the informative speech, then we'll do the persuasive speech. 200 points for the speech. It was to have been 4 to 7 minutes in length, and there's very specific things you were supposed to do. There needed to be a speaking outline and a preparation outline. Why some of you are still only turning in one, and why apparently some of you have not ever looked to see what the outline is supposed to look like is beyond me, but it's still happening, and boy, is it costing you points. The sources for the informative speech were 3 sources. You needed to have that, and you needed at least one visual aid for the speech, and there were very specific requirements for that. So let's get into the actual parts of the speech itself in terms of the informative speech. First up is Beach. You talked about online classes, very good appearance, a little too much headroom in the camera shot. Remember, here it is. I'm not even going to say it. You ought to be able to say it for me. You had a lot of disrupted flow at the beginning. You're reading a lot. Please don't read your speeches. You're supposed to be talking to us. You're supposed to be conversational. You say some online classes or that online classes do not require attendance. That is wrong. There are some online classes that do require attendance. You need to make sure you got your facts right. You also say that something about online books. Online books are not online classes. You want to make that very clear. Or online books are not online courses. Make sure you understand that. You gave a really good personal testimony about what you've accomplished in this. That's good. You didn't discuss who should take an online course. That's crucial. The dropout and failure rate in online classes is colossal. And there's a lot there. And you did not mention any of the negatives of online classes. And boy, are there a bunch of them. And you need, you're taking a class now, you're the exception, but your classmates could testify about that. Next up is Savannah. You talked about energy drinks, good appearance, no visuals. Lose huge points, no visuals. It's one of the requirements. When you state a fact, like cause of death, says who? I need a source. Please don't state facts or what you are representing as facts and not cite a source. You continue to not cite sources in your speech. Your flow is severely disrupted, and you are leaving even before your speech is over. You're kind of one of those things at the end, so don't do that. Your speech was way, way too short. And you've got to fix all of those things. Next up is Disney. You talked about alcoholism. You had the very wrong shot. You did not follow directions on the visuals. You are reading far too much. You have very poor eye contact. You have no source definition for what alcoholism is. You need, when you define it, to give a source. Otherwise, I'm going to assume you made it up, and you don't want me to do that. Watch the sniffles and the preening, this kind of stuff. Alcohol Anonymous organization. It's Alcohol Alcohol Anonymous. You need to check that name of the organization. Watch clearing your voice, and only one outline and no sources there. So next up is Blackhawks. You talked about weight loss. Very good appearance, good topic, but far too long. Remember what the speech length was supposed to be? You went to 10 minutes. You're reading too much. You have absolutely the wrong camera shot. You didn't follow the directions on the shot or the visuals. You have lots of ambient room noise. You are stating facts without sources. Can't do that in these speeches. You are absolutely required to have sources. You already said that you were not an expert, that you were self-taught, so you need to edit yourself. And again, I'm not hearing any sources. And you're rambling, and your focus is lacking in terms of direct kind of a message of what you're giving. Next up is Sherlock. You spoke about the Marine Corps. Having a banner in the background doesn't really qualify as a visual. Even if you point to it, you need something stronger than that to go with your speech. You still have the wrong camera shot. You're shooting up. You are reading way too much. You finally had a little smile. Come on, Marines, drill sergeant, all of that. That's the feeling I get in your speeches. So you had a very abrupt ending with virtually no warning that that was what was coming. You have a combination of biography and information. And one of the things that I'd be interested in, from you especially, is what about some famous female Marines? And also, what are some non-sexist Marine accomplishments? That would be something that could come into play. And also watch the TISC. Okay, that's all of the speeches for the informative speech. Next up was the speech for persuasive speech. And the persuasive speech needed to run 7 to 9 minutes. There were 300 points available for that. There were a lot of directions which some of you did not read, and it's costing you dearly. You needed a speaking outline, and you needed a preparation outline. 2 outlines again. Many of you didn't follow that. You needed at least 1 visual aid, and it's got specifics in there about the accuracy, clarity, and appropriateness for your visual. You needed 4 sources for this speech, and they needed to be cited clearly in what you were doing. First up is Disney. You spoke about diversity. You have only 1 outline, and it was not formatted properly. You have the wrong shot. Your opening statement lacked a source for your assertion. There you go. Right off the top, you don't have a source listed. You're reading word for word. What's your point on target marketing? That is, all marketing is target marketing in order to sell a product. Make it very clear when you say things like that. Race discrimination works both ways. Which side are you on? You need to make that clear. And also, what was the court decision in Texas that you referred to? Don't make a reference to something and not follow up on it. Next up is Blackhawks. You spoke about the death penalty. You did not even talk about the other side of the death penalty. Good appearance. Why are you smiling about this topic? It's not a topic that would invoke people smiling. You're reading far too much. You have too much bouncing your head up and down from your notes, this and this and this and this, because you're doing all of that. Get your sources in frequently. Give me some stats on the death penalty. In terms, you say it holds down on murders. Does it really? So if we sentence someone to death, there'll be fewer people murdered on our streets. Just the logic of that doesn't make any sense. You need to support it. Criminals are not different from us. Really? Really? You made that statement? Criminals are not different from us? Whoa. All right. How do you prevent a murder by someone who's already in jail? A lot of death row inmates are in kind of death row, and so they're in single cells. It's kind of hard for them to kill somebody else. Give us the numbers of people in jail for life. You talk about that, you don't cite it very much. Your time was really, really close in terms of your length, so you want to be careful of those kinds of things. Next up is Beach. You talked about contraception in the schools. You have the wrong shot at soft focus. You need more specificity in your sources. This was a good topic, and it's an important one, too. You have buried your head in your speech. You're down here all the time talking, and it's very seldom that I ever see you when you look up. All right, you have a bright light over your right shoulder, which is causing problems in your camera. We talked about that a lot. Talk to me because you're reading too much. In a speech class, you want to have that communication. And what about the other side of your speech? There are a lot of people that oppose contraceptives being given out in the schools. What about them, and what about their status and their points? In a persuasive speech, you can't just give your part of it without acknowledging that there's something on the other side over there. You don't have to support it. You do not have to give their argument or tell how their argument could be better, but you need to acknowledge that. And in some cases, in your speech, you can shoot down the other side. All right. Who are these experts that you quote? And when were the surveys done? You have a lot of that kind of stuff, and you do not follow through on any of it. You've got to do that. Next up is Savannah. You talked about college kids avoiding credit cards. This speech was just horribly, horribly too short. You had no visual aid that I could tell. You need to slow down. Your flow was severely disruptive. You need to you keep tripping over your own words. This speech was far too short. There were too many problems with this speech, primarily in not following directions. And what is debit card processing? You talked about that. And you talked about an NBC News report, but you didn't say when it happened. Give yourself some credibility. And again, there was only one outline. Next up is Sherlock. You talked about recycling. Your sources are suspect. The shot was too close. It's the wrong shot. You're reading your speech too much. There's no warmth in your communication. You seem to be lecturing us, not communicating. You still have a light tisk. You mentioned Ed Grabowski. Who is he? All right, I could say John Jones, Harry Smith, George Smith, all say. Okay, fine. Who are they? What's their expertise? How come you're quoting them? You can't do that. You've got to establish their credibility if you're going to quote them, and explain why they're an expert. You had Ed Grabowski. You have Dan. Can't read my own writing. Dan something. And you got Vince Bond. You also talk about the Waste Collection Commission. Where is this Waste Collection Commission? And you mentioned Jane Goodall. Okay, I know who Jane Goodall is. How many of your audience know who she is? And why are you quoting her in a recycling speech, given what she's best known for? You got to establish this stuff, folks. That's what it's all about. All right. You've got one speech left, and that is your special occasion speech. Generally, the special occasion speech is you're saluting someone. It's like a birthday toast or the wedding toast given by the best man or the bridesmaid, anything like that. There are really some neat special occasion speeches that are done at funerals. I've seen people giving a special occasion speech at a funeral, and everyone's laughing because of the remembering things about the deceased, and it's such a good, warm feeling. A lot of examples online you can take a look at. Make this one your best, and there are a lot of special rules for this speech, so I would trust that you will all read the directions, and then after you read them, follow them. All right? 150 points left in the class. Don't leave any of them on the table. Good luck to all of you, and we'll talk to you after your next speech. Your class is almost over, folks. Let's go out with a big bang.